is said to exist. A creature that people are encountering.
Seriously, look how big it is.
With far too many reports to ignore, there are elements of truth behind these accounts that mankind can no longer
It's
ignore.
created almost this obsession where I need to find out
Could the
more.
breeding population of large, upright, hairy hominids really exist in North America? Or is there something more paranormal at work here? DD Woods. If just one footprint, one wood knock, or one howl was real, then man's understanding of primate evolution would be changed forever. Join Glenn Purcell and the Catskill Appalachian Research Collective as they delve further into the mysteries of Bigfoot and other paranormal phenomena through the eyes of witnesses, investigators, critics, and skeptics. Join us as we look to discover what lurks from behind tall trees.
Hi, everybody. We're back tonight with Ryan Paul Tremblay. I'm super excited. We've had Ryan on 2 other times now. We talked about skinwalkers the first time. We talked about the Wendigo just a month ago, I think it was.
Yep.
And we're back tonight. And tonight we're talking about all things Bigfoot.
Yay.
You are a wealth of knowledge as far as like Indian lore and tales and history. So it's it's really important. I think you and I have talked before about how hard it is, because I live in an area that had Indians here until the white man came in and pushed them out, and they didn't all go together. They all separated and went in all different directions, and trying to find that history I'm having a hell of a time. So, and I really want that history, which is the sad part.
Yeah, it's very rich. It's very deep too.
Yeah, so it's important to me because I love to hear those things. So I'm really happy that you agree to come back and talk with us about all these things.
Oh, it's my pleasure.
But I was watching a show. Actually, I've watched it twice now in the last month. Really good show, and I really, really like it. And it was on Tubi TV. It's called I think it was called A Flash of Beauty, Bigfoot something.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Have you seen that?
Yeah.
Todd Neese and Amy Boo and the whole host of people in there that they interviewed, and they were talking about Indian history with Bigfoot.
Yeah, there's a lot of it. There's so much to it.
Yeah, they talked about how they showed depictions of like Bigfoot helping them sow their crops, and and I want, in our standpoint today, I'm looking at that going, holy shit, like if Bigfoot would just come out of the woods and help me dig my shale ground, that'd be fantastic. It's hard for me to wrap my mind around the fact that they were cohabitating in every way the word means.
Yeah. Well, it was a different time though. You got to think, we didn't have all these hunters running out there with guns, and we didn't have all these conflicts that we have nowadays.
Yeah.
So it was more fertile ground for the peaceful relationships, but not every tribe had a peaceful relationship with Bigfoot.
Can you tell us about some of those unpeaceful ones?
Yeah. I think the most popular one is the one from the Iroquois. It's the Genosqua, the Stonish giants, where the Bigfoot used to come down from the mountains into the valleys, and they would actually hunt the tribes right in their villages. And they would take men and women and children, and they would devour them. I
read something about this where they actually like twisted their heads off.
Yep. And the Iroquois would try to fire their flint arrowheads at them at the time, and it would just bounce off because these guys at Genosqua, they were so smart that they would roll in sap and then roll in river rock to form like a kind of armor in their fur. So when they fired the arrows at them, it would just bounce right off. And they were terrified of them. They were extremely, extremely terrified. They were so scared that when they finally did get guns, they made it a nightly ritual to fire those muskets into the wood line to keep these things away from them.
Right. That's pretty insane. That, I mean, I get asked a lot in my research about how intelligent I think Bigfoot is. Based on what you said, how they roll around in the dirt and the mud to create a protective shield on their body. Come on now, that's pretty ingenious.
Yeah, and that's not even a case of monkey see, monkey do, because I mean, who were they watching that was rolling around in mud and then river rocks to create an armor? Right. That was obviously something they came up with on their own because they knew, hey, the arrowheads can hurt our skin, but if we wear something to block them, it's not going to work so easily. Which
is pretty ingenious. So to me, that speaks like highly on their level of intelligence.
Yeah, I mean, it kind of goes into the whole GWE from the Micmac tribes, because they said that the GWE, the ones that had the baboon or mandrill type face, that these things would create ditches and traps to ensnare young kids or women that were out on their own. I mean, digging traps is something that's highly intelligent. You're not going to know how to do that just by thinking of it one day.
Right.
So they had to, be smart enough to learn.
That's insane. That's incredible. Because I was reading stories, Indian stories about them coming into. There were some tribes that said that Bigfoot came down and raided their food, stole their fish, and stole all their, whatever crops they'd raised. They would be left with nothing. And then I read about how Bigfoot would come down and literally ate the people, but he would eat their heads off. And I was like, that is insane. Like,
yeah, well, with the GWE, the name means the face eaters. So, these guys used to go for the face when they killed. Again, that shows intelligence as far as an animal goes. To know that the face is the most easy place to go for on a prey, that's intelligence.
Yeah. Even wolves in that will go for the neck.
Yeah.
To kill their prey. So it's
very true. But the face, or to twist the head off. That's kind of macabre, but they knew what they were doing.
That's very macabre. I was like, are you kidding me? Like that's because
they kind of treated us like we were bottles. I mean, they just grabbed us and yeah.
I've recently been out on an expedition in the Allegheny National Forest.
Oh, nice.
And I hooked up with some friends that I had met last year, and Jeff and Julie Anderson. I don't know if you've ever heard their names.
Names sound familiar.
They were telling me a story, and they have photographs, which is really scary. And I don't have those photographs, or I'd show you. They actually were out there one time in the wintertime. It was snow on the ground, just kind of driving around, checking things out, seeing if they could see anything. And they actually came across a kill.
Whoa.
The weird thing about this kill was that it literally looked like somebody picked this deer up and swung it around their head, beating it off of trees. Like there was body parts everywhere of this deer.
Wow.
It's incredible.
That's violent.
I would not have believed this story. Like I would have thought this story was like, and I know Jeff and Julie, and they're not people who make things up.
Right.
But they have photos to back this up. And I was like, wow, that is insane. That is
and bear can't do that. Bear can't grab things like that. So
right.
Wow.
That's fresh. Says imagine that's the strength required to do those things.
That's strength you don't want to mess with. That's the kind of abilities that you're like, nope. You can leave me alone. I'm good.
No.
Hey, Melissa.
No, nothing I have encountered in any of my research areas that I've researched. And it's, I haven't even hit I hit on the iceberg as far as research goes. But I have not heard or seen anything that crazy.
Not yet. I don't know if I want to find anything that crazy, though.
No, I mean, you're not kidding.
I'd be kind of scared. I mean, especially by myself, I'd just be like, okay, I'm getting out of here.
Yeah, it's insane. But I do love the stories where they say Bigfoot comes down and they actually call him brother.
Yeah, like the Lakota.
I love those stories. I think that is so awesome.
I learned about the Lakota belief from William Nighthawk. He's a Lakota. So he told me about the Chietonka, the big elder brother, and they do have a very peaceful existence with Bigfoot. It's really interesting to see how, like in Canada, most of the aggressive Bigfoot live up there, but when you come down to the States, they seem to kind of, I don't know, calm down a little bit, I guess.
Do you think that's a climate issue?
It could be. It could also be due to like prey. You know, they have more game down here than up in the Canadian woods, or maybe we're just not as aggressive as we are up in Canada. Who knows?
Those damn Canadians.
Yeah. Yep. I mean, they love their bacon and beer, and they're like, who's out in the woods, eh?
So true. So true.
See, I can say that. I'm part Canadian, so I can get away with it.
There, that's right.
Mm-hmm.
What kind of, in my opinion, I think Bigfoot is highly intelligent, if they're not more intelligent than we are.
Oh,
because I mean, they've survived for so long and have been able to remain hidden for so long that, man, that's incredible. You have to have knowledge way beyond what we can fathom.
Based on my research, though, I think there's a difference between intelligence and instinct. I think that they're very highly instinctual. I think they know how to hide from us because, you know, it's just something they've always done. But I think they are smart enough to realize that certain people can be very dangerous for them. And I think those dangerous people, you know, hunters that have guns, I think they register those as, this is somebody that could hurt me, so I'm going to scare them off. I think that's where that comes from. That's also instinct.
Right. You know, when I was reading those stories about how they called it brother and Bigfoot would come down and they practically lived in harmony with them, it made me wonder what Bigfoot thought when the white man came.
And that could be the whole beginning of them becoming elusive.
Yeah, made him move. I mean, I would have thought Bigfoot would have like got mad as hell and been like down there and just ripped some people apart. But
you would think. Well, I mean, it depends on really like what stories you believe. Have you ever heard of the LaFleur County Massacre?
No.
Okay, there's a lot of debate about that. Some people say it was written solely for the internet. But the weird thing is about this, Gwen, when you look up the guy LaFleur, there was a man named LaFleur who died mysteriously. Now, in this story, what was going on is the Choctaw were having a problem with Bigfoot that were coming and stealing their children. And they were eating them. So they actually reached out to a guy who was part Choctaw. He was part of the military. And he came in with some troops and some horses. And they hunted down these Bigfoot. And sure enough, they found a big pile of bodies that belonged to these kids. But during that raid, LaFleur himself was killed when he shot one of these Bigfoot and just kind of blew him off, and it just grabbed the guy and broke his neck. You know, so right there, that's kind of an example. When the white man came in, these Bigfoot became really aggressive. Now, if you believe that one, I don't know. I'm still looking into it because, you know, people saying, oh, it's written for the internet. It's possible. But when you look up historical facts, there was a LaFleur. You know, so it makes you wonder. Yeah, he died mysteriously. So you're like, well, the facts line up historically. You know, so did they take history and write a story around it? Or was history just written down as it was?
Very, very good question. Very good question. Let me see here. I'm trying to. Anybody that has any questions, if you want to put them in all caps for us, that way I don't miss them. We have quite a few people watching. Hello to everyone that has tuning in. I don't think I've missed any questions so far. So if anyone has anything for Ryan and you want to ask any questions, just pop them in there in the comment section. Put them in all caps so I don't miss them. I know it kind of sounds like you're screaming at me, but that's okay.
You don't have to limit it to Bigfoot. If you want to ask about Dogman or whatever,
anything's on the table, because that's what we're doing this season. Anything is on the table. We're talking about it all. And I did just see something. It was today, as a matter of fact. Oh my gosh, it had to be on Facebook because I'm always on Facebook. There was a photograph. It was a trail cam photo. Has anybody else seen this photo? Oh,
the one of the eye?
Of the eye, yes.
You know, that's an older photo. I remember talking about that some time back. And, you know, from what I see, it does look like a black bear. Now, if you look at the photo,
when I first looked at it, I was like,
yeah, when you look at the photo, there's no ears on the side. So the ears are up here.
Right. And
you know,
there wasn't any hair around the eye, but that it could
be.
Right.
Well, black bears, though,
whatever.
Yeah, they lose their fur around the eye sometime. So it could be a black bear. I do think it's a bear, but if anybody can prove me wrong, I definitely encourage you to do so.
I was looking through the comments, and I think one person said bear. 3 people, I think, said dogman. Werewolf. I heard werewolf, dogman. Nobody claimed it to be a Bigfoot, though, which I found kind of funny. But they were like, "Oh, it can't be a bear. Look at the eyeball itself." And I was like, "Oh my gosh!" But it was a rather interesting photo. I thought it was interesting.
I laugh at comments like that because you look at the people and you're like, "Have you ever been out in the woods?" And they're like, "No."
No.
So you just kind of sit there going, "Well, how come your mind went right to werewolf or dogman when you have never been out in the woods? What about known animals? I mean, what?"
Melissa says there's another photo floating around that looks like the eye of an owl.
I haven't seen that one.
I haven't seen that one. The problem with me and photos coming around, because I'll read comments and somebody will say, "Oh, that one is making its rounds again."
Yeah.
And like, the problem with me is I'm only seeing these photos for the first time because I wasn't into Bigfoot probably the last time it went around. So I'm seeing it, and to me, it's the first time. So I'm like, oh, well.
I went through that recently. I don't know if you saw the big article that I posted on Facebook about the hand puppet the guy made.
Yes, I did.
People are still so determined to believe that it's a dogman, even though this guy, the artist that made this, he went public and said, "No, it's not a dogman. It's supposed to be a dinosaur." And they don't want to believe him. They're yelling at him going, "Oh, you're lying. It's a government cover-up." So it's like, what?
Let's see here. David Lester says, on the Tool River Indian Reservation, petroglyphs created by a tribe of, Yokuts.
Yep.
At a site called Painted Rock are allegedly by some to depict a group of Bigfoot called the Family.
Correct, David. 100%. 100%.
The local tribes people call the largest of the glyphs Hairy Man, and they are estimated to be between 500 and 1,000 years old. Let's talk about that.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, that place does depict, ancient paintings of what's supposed to be a Bigfoot. And you talk to the people, the tribe, and they will tell you that these beings have been with their tribe from the beginning. So when they tell you something like that, you really have to look at this and go, okay, there's something there. Okay, you can't just go, oh, it's a figment of their imagination. It's something else that they had seen. Because really, in the United States, what walks upright? We don't have any animals that walk upright like that.
We don't.
We don't have gorillas. We don't have chimpanzees. We didn't have that stuff, especially when those paintings were made. There were no zoos, no carnivals, so there were no escaped animals.
Right.
Come on now.
So what do you say to people that I've heard, I just recently heard where, and I don't even remember where I heard this from. This may have been on the BFRO website. That's something about Bigfoot living only 50 years. They're said to maybe be a max lifespan of 50 years. And I was like, how do you know that?
Well, are they gauging it from how long gorillas live?
I don't know. I have no idea. But I've heard other people say, and I'm not real confident in what people say when they say, "Oh, well, Bigfoot spoke to me and he said he's 600 years old." And I'm like, okay.
Oh boy.
Yeah, I'm kind of like, okay. I'm not sure I believe that Bigfoot himself, the one that's in my backyard, is 600 and some years old.
Right.
But I don't know. What is your take? What do the Indians say? Like, do they say anything about the age?
They have different views. Like if you look at different tribes, some of them believe that they're a type of people like you or I. Others believe that they're a spiritual type thing. So if they're a spiritual type thing, I would think that their existence is just, but for us to actually try to decide how long a Bigfoot lives, how do we approach that? We first have to know, are they human? Are they ape? What are they? Right. Then once we know that, we can kind of do the math and figure out, well, a human lives this long. So in the wild, they might live, this many years because of these conditions. So there's a lot to it. You can't just say, oh, it's going to live this long because,
There have been a lot of Indian history about where Bigfoot comes from.
Yeah.
Is that a tribal thing? Like, I'm sure that varies among tribes.
Yeah. Because it does vary.
I watch a lot of Ancient Aliens. I'm just going to throw that out there. I love that show. But I've seen in different parts of that show where they've said some tribes believe that they travel through portals or dimensions, and other ones, is that so the case?
Yeah, in a way. See, the tribes never use portals or dimensions. Most of them describe, like, he's brought here by the one who carries the sun across the sky. So it's a very deeply spiritual thing for them. It's not just, a monster popping in and out. It's something brought to them by their god, essentially. So they don't really use portals and dimensions, though. They don't like to use that terminology.
So with that being said, when they're talking about it being a spiritual thing, is that, what are they saying it is? Is it like a ghost, or is it like a...
No, it's more something that's like, it's a guide, something sent by the creator to watch over their tribes.
Okay.
So that's why some of them have that very, very high view, and they almost think of them like gods themselves, because they respect them so much. Whereas, some do, like, in case of the GWEN, they think they're evil and just should be eradicated.
So what happens when those Indian tribes get pushed into reservations?
Well, I mean, in some cases, their beliefs change because we force them to change. But in a lot of cases, too, they adhere to those beliefs and they still respect whatever Bigfoot is.
That's fresh. Says something to consider if you're a spirit and continue on. We do then never age, just the vessel does. Similarity, perhaps.
Okay. That's a valid point. That's a valid point. Okay.
Yeah, because if you're spirit and your spirit, I mean...
Yeah, that's something a lot of people seem to ignore in the cryptid field when they go, oh, they're demons, they're this. And they argue, are they flesh and blood or are they spirit? We're body and spirit, okay? We're flesh and blood right now when we have a spirit. So why can't they be both? Who's to say they don't have souls like we do, that they don't have spirits like we do?
Right.
We don't know enough about them to just categorize them in one box. That's it. We don't know.
And I had this conversation on a podcast I was on the other night, on Sunday night. I was on somebody else's podcast. I did believe it was called The Caffeinated Cryptid with Bob.
Oh, I know him. Bobby Dizzle.
That was such a great conversation. But we actually brought that up, that, what is it exactly? And I said, I'm not going to jump on which side of the fence that is. Like, I'm not on the woo side where,
right.
He travels through portals, dimensions, or he's alien, or, whatever other side. But I also am not on the flesh and blood side. Like, I'm kind of somewhere in the middle, trying to keep an open mind, because we don't know the answers. Nobody does.
Right.
And I truly believe in my heart of hearts that these creatures have abilities that we don't understand.
Yeah.
Whether it be that we're just not advanced enough to comprehend what it is that they're doing. But, like, I don't know. That's kind of like where I'm at. And I'm kind of stuck there in that. Like,
you got to remember too, Gwen, we've been babied by technology. Okay.
Oh, absolutely.
So who's to say long ago, when we actually had to rely on our own instincts to survive, that we didn't have the same things that Bigfoot has?
That's true.
We're so diluted. I mean, we're so used to cell phones and iPads and things like that, that honestly, if you threw us out in the wild and said, hey, survive on your own, we'd be scared and we'd die within days.
Absolutely. Yeah. Some people can't fight their way out of a paper bag when it's wet. So
yeah, true. And Melissa, I agree with that 100%.
I agree with that as well.
Animals definitely have a spirit, man. I look in Duke's eyes sometimes, man. It's such a soulful look. So
because we were talking about our dogs before the show started, and I have the same thing with my dogs. Like, I look into their eyes, and it's just like, I don't know how to explain it. There's just this little soul in there. Yeah,
and it's such a pure soul too.
Like, oh,
it's a pure soul. Hey, Rabbit Homesteading.
And I have to say, I was on my way to work this morning, and I don't even hunt anymore because I just can't. Like, I just can't. And
I can't either. Don't feel bad.
Yeah. And I used to hunt. I've hunted my whole life, but I just, in the last few years, I just can't do it. And this morning I hit a deer on my way to work.
Oh, no.
And I wasn't upset that my car was all busted up. I was upset that this deer was laying in the middle of the road flopping around. Like, I was so upset. And I did not have my gun with me. which I guess is good because I guess it's illegal in Pennsylvania to shoot a deer after you've hit it with your car. I guess it's okay to just let it suffer.
Really? So you're supposed to let it go and just die on its own?
Yeah, that's what I said.
Cool.
That's very cool. But apparently, you know, even if a deer has a broken leg, they can still live with 3 legs, so you're not supposed to shoot it.
Not very long, they can't.
And I'm like, okay. I know he's had other injuries. Like, it can't just be a leg. Like, my car is short as shit. Like,
well, thank goodness you're okay, though, because hitting a deer, man, that can, whoa.
I cried. And as I'm walking up to this deer, it jumped up finally. It got its bearings, and it took off into the woods. And I'm like, great. Now this deer is wounded in the woods.
Oh,
this is freaking fantastic. But I can't imagine, like, killing a Bigfoot. I can't even kill a deer or a rabbit. I slam on the brakes for chipmunks, for God's sakes.
Yeah, I don't think I could kill one either. I mean, I do think that science needs a body, but I don't think it needs to be somebody killing one.
No.
I think if we found one, we'd be okay.
Yeah, if it was already dead, that would be okay.
Yeah, I could never kill one. I could never kill a Bigfoot. There's no way.
Yeah, I'm not an advocate for killing one. Not at all.
No.
And but I think what are you going to do if you find one? Well,
right. If we were lucky enough,
I don't know.
If we were lucky enough and I stumbled across a corpse where I didn't kill it, so I don't have that guilt on my head, I would take some fur and I would probably scrape off some skin, maybe see if there's some tooth that fell out somewhere, or maybe grab a fingernail, you know, bag that sucker up really good and be like, haha, DNA.
Yeah. I don't know. When I had made a post on Facebook about, I took the gun out of my car yesterday because I came home from work and our garage light was on, but I knew nobody was home. So I took the gun out of the glove box and kind of went on a little, you know, looking to see if somebody was in the garage because I was going to be a surprise. And I didn't put it back in the car. So I didn't have it this morning because I would have shot the deer in the...
And you would have been in deep trouble for doing so.
And I would have been, I found out from the Game Commission that you can't do that.
Wow.
And I'm like, when did that rule change? Because it's been that way my whole life.
Such a weird rule. Okay.
Yeah, you're not allowed to shoot.
See, in Michigan.
I like that. Because I would have taken it home. Because, I mean, I've hunted, so I know how to butcher a deer, and I would have eaten the meat, or what's good left on it. But yeah, you're not allowed to do that here in Pennsylvania. You will get fined. I was like, that
is a very weird rule.
Yeah. So, I mean, I carry a gun when I go Bigfoot hunting, but
you should.
It's not for the Bigfoot. It's for the mountain lions that the state says we don't have, and it's for the coyotes and the bear.
Yep.
Because I don't need to be out there in the woods.
Yeah, I have to start carrying a gun too. A buddy of mine actually sent me a text this morning. He's like, "Oh yeah, I know you're going on that skinwalker investigation soon, but watch out. They saw a jaguar here in Arizona." And we don't normally have jaguars here. So the fact that they've seen it 3 separate times.
A jaguar. That is crazy. I
would love to see that.
Because I want to see a jaguar. That would be awesome.
I would love to see it from a distance so I could snap some shots of it, but I hope it doesn't notice me because it might look at me and be like, "Ooh, Ryan, you look good enough to eat."
There'll be photos of me up until I can't take a photo anymore. You know
what my problem would be, Gwen? I'd see the cat and I'd be like, pss, pss, pss.
I know. That's how I'm going down. I'm telling you right now.
Yeah. Oh yeah, when I die, I'm dying petting something that I probably shouldn't have.
When you see that meme on Facebook with the bear and it says, "If ever I'm dead, please know I went." Who's a big fuzzy wuzzy? That's me. That's how I'm going down. I'm going to get killed
me too.
by some wild animal.
Hell, I would do that with a Bigfoot. So, you know, okay.
Oh, come here.
Oh, you tried to claw my eyes out. How cute.
Yeah. Yeah. That's how I'm going down.
Yep.
Yeah. I went down.
Animal lovers, man.
Somebody just released like 6,000 minks from a mink farm that I didn't even know we had. That's like just a few miles from my house. And somebody cut a hole in the fence and released all these minks. And they said, "Don't touch them. Don't go near them because they're very aggressive, blah, 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 blah." And I said, that's it. That's how I die. I'm going to my yard. I'm going to be like, "Come here, little fella."
Yeah. Wow, minks, though, is that going to mess up the environment where you are?
Well, they are native to Pennsylvania. However,
Okay.
I don't think 6,000 in one small area is, what
Yeah,
nature
that's
intended. So
a
I've been
bad
waiting.
balance.
Yeah, I've been waiting for my chickens to come up missing, but we haven't seen any here, and I'm only 4 miles from the place.
You say that now, but watch, once we're done here, you're like, oh, a mink.
I'm gonna go outside. There'll be one on my patio.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sending the picture of it to you.
Good, you better hope there's one and not 6,000 of them on your patio.
Oh my God, I'll be out there with the dog food, going here, come here.
Oh
here. Yeah, that's me. Yeah,
get your dogs.
My dogs are big wussies. They'll be in the house with their tail between.
Yeah, like this guy behind me.
Yeah, just like that. Oh my gosh. So what kind of stories have you heard from I know you talk to a lot of Indian tribes and you hear a lot of history. What do they say about Bigfoot?
Well, I mean, depending on which tribe you're talking about, a lot of them talk about how they traded with them. They would trade, corn and things like that. And Bigfoot would bring them berries and deer and, all the good stuff that they needed to survive. They would bring them furs. So they had this really cohesive bond that was very important to their survival for both sides.
Wow. Well, then I'm going to put out some corn and see if I get a mink pelt.
Right. And it makes you kind of jealous because it's like, how did they establish communications with them? Here we are doing wood knocks, we're doing howls, and we don't get communication, but what did they do differently? And one man that I actually spoke to, who's a Navajo here in Arizona, he said the problem is that we go looking for them and we make noises. They don't want that. When we go looking for them, go into the woods with nothing on your mind and go in with pure intentions.
Right.
Because they can sense your intentions. So if you're good enough at what you're doing, if you're actually showing you're pure of heart, they will show themselves to you.
Rabbit homesteading, that's Pennsylvania. I'm not sure what state you're from, but I'm here in central Pennsylvania. And apparently there's been a mink farm by my house for a very long time. And I didn't even know it was here until somebody cut a hole in the fence. And then it was like, mink farm? Where the hell is that? Like, yeah, I don't.
That's interesting, but
yeah, I didn't.
Wow, 6,000 of them.
6,000 minks were released, is what
they're not going to catch them all. There's no way.
Gosh, no, they've been dead along the road, and like whoever released them was kind of stupid because these things
messed up.
Yeah, they've never been in the wild before, so I don't know that they even know how to.
Oh yeah. So, sounds like an animal rights activist did it, though.
That's what I said. PETA should be ashamed of themselves if that's who did it.
PETA goes a little too far sometimes.
They do. It's unfortunate, but but I did hear a story here not long ago where somebody was giving Bigfoot marijuana.
Oh boy.
I did. I heard this story. It was recently too. I'm not sure where I even remember who told me that story.
As crazy as that sounds, the Native Americans talk about giving it pure tobacco because tobacco is considered a sacred plant.
Right.
It's used for healing and used in their different ceremonies. So, I mean, again, marijuana is natural too. So maybe it's held sacred in some regard that we're not aware of.
I did have somebody comment on something recently that said, in relation to the Indian stories about Bigfoot, that their comment went something like this. It was that they smoke a lot of the peace pipe, so they probably don't even know what they're looking at, or that's where the stories came from.
Wow.
Peace pipe and they weren't in their right mind. And I'm like,
oh wow.
that is something somebody posted. It was a comment on something, and I was like, really? That's kind of crazy because
that's mean. I'm appalled by that.
Yeah, I mean, I know from like, and you can't see it. In fact, it's probably already done burning. But I had an incense here behind me. I'm trying to play the lottery and I'm trying to win. So it was one of those prosperity incense. I'm doing all I can.
Well, I think what people need to realize is they stereotype a lot of the Native American tribes. Okay, when they smoke the peace pipe, it's not always peyote. Okay, sometimes it is just plain tobacco. Right. And these men and women, they lived out in the wild. They went to places that we wouldn't dare go back in the day. They still do it. So when they talk about animals, they know those animals better than we do. Absolutely. They know what smell they bring with them. They know what to look for when they're tracking them. They look for the you know, the footprints. They can tell by the sound miles away what kind of animal it is. So when they're talking about Bigfoot, they also know what they're talking about when it comes to Bigfoot. So for people to make fun of that and say, oh, they were just, you know, drunk or high or whatever, it's like, how dare you?
Yeah. My thing is, yeah, I have you under the Wendigo guy. See that?
That's awesome.
I thought to myself when I read this comment that, you know, because I'm a very spiritual person and I believe in multiple gods and goddesses, and I believe in, you know, Mother Nature and the earth and all of that, similar to the Indian tribes.
Correct.
And I think to myself that I have seen and read things where, you know, and I've seen stories of Indians like in their teepees and they're passing the peace pipe around, and they're kind of, in my opinion, creating an atmosphere where they can sit with a clear mind and allow the spirits in the universe to speak to them. So that's what I take from it when I see something like that. But this guy was like, you know, they're smoking the peace pipe. They don't know what they're talking about. And I was like, but when you're with a clear mind and you know, whoever you believe in sends messages to you, then that's the same thing.
Yeah, that comes from a lack of knowledge of their ceremonies, Gwen. When they did those ceremonies, it was very, very intense. You know, normally they would make themselves sweat profusely and, you know, they wouldn't eat. They'd go without water to get a spiritual message from their gods, from their deities. And, you know, it shouldn't be taken lightly. And I think when anybody makes fun of that, it's like, could you educate yourself before you talk ill of it?
Yes, yes. Because I think that was just a way for them to
dismiss it.
Connect. It was a way for the Indians to connect with whoever they believed.
And they have all kinds of ceremonies, and some of them are so beautiful. You know, when you listen to the music that they use for it and, you know, the chants that they do, you lose yourself. Okay. You know, I've seen some that I'm just like, wow. And I forget where I am. You know, I forget time stands still. I'm just like, yo, wow. I feel like a part of the tribe.
Which is awesome. It was awesome.
Yeah.
Ristel says, didn't Albert Osterman escape his captivity by giving the male Squatch chewing tobacco?
He sure did. He sure did. Wow. Good memory, Ristel.
Now, see, I'm unaware of this story. What is this? What is the story here?
Oh, you've never heard of Albert Osterman before?
No.
Oh, he was actually a fur trapper, and he was a miner too, who he was abducted by a male Sasquatch who brought him to his family. He was actually carried over his shoulder in his sleeping bag. And he was pretty much held captive by Bigfoot for a short time before he gave the male a little can of dip. And when it ate the dip, it got sick and he took off.
Oh my gosh.
And that's a story, I believe, because he actually told that to Theodore Roosevelt. And Theodore Roosevelt was hard-nosed and did not like to BS or lie to anybody. So for him to believe it, there you go.
How long ago was that? Was that?
Oh God, that was, trying to think. That was a long, long time ago. It's in his book, though. It's in Roosevelt's book, The Wilderness Hunter.
Oh,
so if you ever want to read the full account, yeah, read that. It's excellent. You read that, Gwen, you're gonna be like, whoa.
I would love to go to an Indian powwow, or when they have their where they dance around and they play their drums.
Arizona.
Oh, don't ask me twice, because I'll be on the next plane. I mean, after South Carolina, because I'm going to South Carolina tomorrow.
They have them all the time. We have them in winter. We have them in summer. It's so amazing to behold. It's great. It's amazing.
And you're in Arizona, so the weather there is kind of nice all year round, right?
We get really, really hot, then we get really, really cold. That's what we get. Yeah.
Oh, wow. I didn't.
Not as cold as Pennsylvania. I mean, we'll have the, you know, kind of warm day, but once nighttime hits, you're just sitting there going, oh my God, you're shivering. So you got to go prepared. So
you have to have summer clothes and winter clothes all in the same day.
All in one backpack, so you can just get changed real quick.
Now, did the Indian tribes, that person I just had up on the screen there said they smoke tobacco, not marijuana. Is that true? Indians don't smoke marijuana?
True. They use peyote. They would use peyote, but they wouldn't smoke marijuana. No.
Okay. Does peyote give them the same kind of euphoric?
It's a hallucinogen. It makes them actually see things. So, but it's not like, you know, it's not like acid or anything like that. It's an actual natural thing that's found in the desert around here.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Interesting. That is very interesting. I did not know that.
Yep.
I mean, I just assumed it was marijuana.
Yeah, no. And a lot of people will say that
for marijuana.
Right, that they were drinking all the time, that they smoked pot. No, they didn't. They didn't know of marijuana until, white man brought it over. So, yeah.
Well, I'm going to try that. I'm going to try to give Bigfoot some marijuana.
Hey.
See what happens.
When he starts talking to you like Cheech and Chong, man, just be careful.
I won't tell anybody where I live, though.
He's going to take a big hit, like, that's some good weed, man.
Yeah. I'll probably get left more than golf balls then.
Yeah. He's going to raid your fridge. He's going to get the munchies.
Melissa says they also smoke mullein. And I know about mullein because I have my mom using mullein. She's not smoking it, of course, but it's great for respiratory problems.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. So with that being said, now that she brought that up, because I did ask this on the research project I went on in September in the Alleghenies. The guy I was with and I had a conversation about Bigfoot and medicine. And do you think that he has knowledge of what plants in the woods he can use to?
Oh, yeah.
For medicinal reasons? Is that something he would know or something the Indians may have taught him?
I think it's a little bit of both. I think he knew of some of them, but then, the tribes taught him the other ones, and it was a mutual thing. He taught them what to use, and then they traded off some stuff with him. So, because, he would have to know, right? An injury in the wild, he'd have to know how to take care of it.
Right. I would think that too. I've had that conversation with several people actually about, do they think Bigfoot knows what plants are medicinal and what they're used for in order to stay healthy?
Yeah,
and
look at
people said that's just ridiculous.
No, look at known animals.
No, but
like bears. Bears, when they're sick, they know what grass to go and eat. They know what mushrooms to avoid also. So, something out in the wild, it knows by instinct also which things to eat, which things to use and not use.
Because if you think about it, when my dog's not feeling well, he goes outside and eats the grass, and then he comes in house and throws up for me.
Yep. Hey, does that sound familiar, Duke? Oh, he's looking right at the screen. You see him?
I do.
He's got eye shine going on. That's kind of creepy.
Oh my gosh. Look at him moving.
Very good boy.
Oh, he's a cutie.
It's my boy.
So have you heard of some really what's like the wildest, craziest thing you've heard about Bigfoot?
I've actually heard from some people that Bigfoot is associated with the Thunderbird, that the two actually oppose one another. So when the Thunderbird comes to cause the storms, Bigfoot comes down to chase the storms away.
Wow. That's kind of an intense story.
Mm-hmm.
And I have to take pause because I've gotten some Thunderbird reports.
Have you?
In Pennsylvania.
Whoa.
I absolutely have. And I got one recently from the festival that I held. A gentleman told me about a very large bird in the sky that he saw.
I'm so jealous of people that see that because they say they're in Arizona and I've never seen one.
Yeah.
Yet Ashley, who's in Ohio, she saw something that might be a Thunderbird. And I'm like, why you and not me?
Ashley Hilt?
Yeah.
Yep. Okay. I follow her on Facebook too. So I've seen some of her.
Yeah. That's my girlfriend. So.
Oh, she's very nice. She seems nice. I don't know. I've never interacted with her, but she seems really nice. I like
this until you make her mad.
Isn't that all women?
Oh, yeah.
So that the Thunderbird creates the storms and Bigfoot comes down to them.
He chases them away. He either beats his chest or he beats a drum that calms the winds and stops the thunder.
Wow. That's a crazy story.
Well, like I said, it's a very spiritual connection to some tribes in Bigfoot. They don't believe it's just an animal. They don't believe it's just a man. They think it's, something sent by their God. So
now, when you say their God, what are they're not talking about the same God as Catholics and
that's a debate, but I kind of think that they are in a way. I think they all know there's one God, and it's just different names. It's God by different names.
Okay. I wasn't sure if they believed in multiple gods or.
Oh, they absolutely do. They have different deities that But they also talk about the evil one, which, in our terminology could translate to Lucifer.
Yeah.
So there are similarities.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Only they don't have a book to.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
They follow a moral code and they follow principles that, they adhere to closely. They don't judge other people using those.
Right. Right. Okay. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Good point.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Let's see here. Robert is saying.
Oh yeah, I did get that mixed up.
And mixed up. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
He's got, let's see here. The right spelling is the Bauman story.
Mm-hmm.
I'll have to look that up. In fact, I'm going to write it down because if I don't write it down, I won't remember it an hour from now.
Yep. It's good reading. It's very good reading. In fact, Bob Gimlin, he did a really good video on that.
So what do you think Bigfoot is or isn't?
I flip-flop. Sometimes I like to say, I think it's a type of ape, but then I talk to certain people that have these really extravagant encounters, and I'm like, well, apes can't do that. So I kind of tread into the woo, but I try to remain scientific, okay? Because with the woo and everything, ultimately, science isn't going to take it serious, okay? If we're talking about, cloaking and being bulletproof and just, doing all this weird stuff, science is going to laugh. So I try to remain scientific and go, okay, well, these were animal-like behaviors when it was knocking on the tree, when it was whooping, when it was howling, or whatever, So I try to remain kind of in between worlds, I guess, But at this point, I still want to think it's either a type of ape or a type of human. I don't think they're demonic. I don't think they're Nephilim. I really don't. So
I've heard that too, Nephilim stories. Yeah.
My problem with the Nephilim thing, though, Gwen, is when you look in the Bible, okay, the Nephilim had 6 fingers and 6 toes. They had squared teeth. They had red hair. Okay, but how does that fit in with Sasquatch? Bigfoot is seen with dark hair and, 5 fingers and 5 toes.
Right.
So how are we getting the whole Nephilim thing? Because their height, there's tall people. And animals can grow big. Humans can grow big. So that's where I stand on that.
Good deal. Good deal. Now, as you were talking, I had a thought in my head, and then it went poof out of my brain, which happens sometimes.
Happens to me all the
time. What was I going to say? Does anybody have any questions for Ryan or even myself? Let's see. Rabbit Homesteading says he agrees with you. Ape or human with possibly special powers they've adapted.
It's really hard to decide. It's hard to really pick a hill to die on when it comes to Bigfoot, because some of the descriptions are very ape-like, whereas some of the descriptions are almost human-like. So you're like, how can that be? But I do remember that sometimes apes have human-like features. I mean, especially the eyes.
Oh, absolutely. Especially the eyes. When you look at them, it's kind of like looking at your dog.
Yeah.
They've got deep emotion and soul.
And even the behavior, I mean, apes will hold babies like we hold it. And so when somebody says, oh, I saw a Sasquatch female holding her baby like this, it has to be human. I go, well, not necessarily.
I have to wonder if Bigfoot is as mean and nasty as they say. I mean, we've heard lots of stories about Bigfoot finding lost children and keeping them safe. When
I think it depends. Kids, I really do.
Yeah, barely able to talk, says the big bear, take care of me. Well, a bear is not. A bear is like a child.
Look at it this way, though, Gwen. Humans can be dangerous, right?
Absolutely.
We can be the most dangerous animals going, okay? But we can also be super sympathetic and the most kind, most soft-hearted things in the right situation.
Absolutely.
And most notably, like, with kids. Some people with kids, man, you hurt a kid in front of them, they're going to murder you. So Bigfoot could be the same. I'm one of those people. I'm one of them too.
Oh,
I mean, don't ever hurt a kid or an animal in front of me because I'll become your enemy like that.
In a second. Absolutely. Let's see here. Melissa has a question. Do you believe Bigfoot can project infrasound?
I do. And it's not supernatural. A lot of people will tell you infrasound's supernatural. It isn't. Tigers use it. Orcas use it. Praying mantises actually use it too.
A praying mantis?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, to stun its prey. It actually stuns the prey. That's what tigers do too. A lot of people, when they research tigers, they'll talk about how they feel really sick and dizzy when a tiger makes a certain sound. That's infrasound.
See, I've been hit with what I think is infrasound on 2 different occasions.
Mm-hmm.
One before I even knew Bigfoot was a thing.
Right.
When I didn't believe in Bigfoot, I had a tarot card reading from my neighbor's sister, and she, in the middle of the tarot card reading, pointed to a tree in my backyard and said, "You need to go sit by that tree. Something wants to talk to you." And I was like, "Oh, you can get the hell out of here," because the woods creeped me out. I always felt like I was being watched in the woods, and the woods always creeped me out. And I was like, I'm not going down to that tree. Well, a few weeks later, I got kind of angry about it, and I went down to the wood line and was with all my attitude and was like, "Okay, I'm here. You know, what do you got to say?" Thinking it's paranormal, not, you know. And it took all I had to walk back to my house.
Wow, was that strong?
Every ounce of energy was drained from me. I literally felt sick, and I went to bed. It was like 4:00 in the afternoon. And my husband said, "Do you want to watch a movie with me?" And I said, "No, I'm going to bed." He's like, "It's 4:00. And I'm like, yeah, I don't feel good. I'm going to bed.
People underestimate infrasound, but that stuff can stop you dead in your tracks. I mean, you know, when tigers, like I said, when tigers use it, it's just, it stuns their prey. Their prey is so confused that they can't run. You know, and orcas, they do it too, to make, you know, dolphins and seals just kind of like swim all over the place like idiots.
Yeah.
So.
And the second time I got hit with infrasound, what I think was infrasound, I was in my tent sleeping in my yard.
Oh boy. With
a friend of mine, was in her tent, sleeping in her tent. And I heard something walking around us.
Oh.
And I was frozen in fear. I could not move.
Okay, so it didn't want you going anywhere.
I wanted so badly to like grab because I had my gun there. I wanted so badly to grab the gun, whip the tent open, and like, but I couldn't move. I was literally frozen.
Wow.
Here's Melissa said, she had an experience a few weeks ago on a camping trip, got nauseated, bad headache, ringing in my ears, and really tired.
Oh, Melissa, that's terrible.
Yeah. That's about the same experience that I had. So I get it. It was hard. Is that was that your trip with Daniel Benoit, Melissa?
Yeah.
Oh, yes. At the beginning of the first season of Expedition Bigfoot, our RPG got zapped by infrasound, I think.
Yep.
He had a really, really, really bad headache.
Yeah, I mean, it can make such a bad migraine that your nose bleeds. So.
Yeah, Melissa said it was. She went. I actually was going to go on that, but then I don't even remember what I was doing. I think I had to go somewhere else on something else, Bigfooty. And
Bigfooty. Is that a new word now? Bigfooty?
Yeah, that's my new word, Bigfooty. And so I would have been there with her if I had gone, but I couldn't make the trip. Yeah. Well, I'm not missing another one, Melissa. That's it. Oh, thank you. Oh. I missed you guys too. I don't get to see them very often because they're in Virginia and I'm in Pennsylvania, but
everybody's so far apart. That's what sucks about the cryptid field, is we're all over the place.
It is. But you know what's nice? I try to always look at the positive things. And what's nice about it is that we've kind of all formed a big family. Yeah. Like I've never met you in person, but like we've had multiple conversations. You've been on the show. This is your 3rd time. And I have a strong, like, I just believe in what you say and what you do. And I don't.
I appreciate that.
Yeah. You just, like, if I wanted to know something, I know that I can call you and be like, "Hey, Ryan, like I heard about this or this." And, you know, so it's amazing to me what kind of community you form, even with people you've never met.
Yeah. Like, that's one of the cooler things.
Yeah. But
I mean, you get those bad people too, though, that you got to watch out for. So.
Yeah. Well, everybody's got those, don't they? No matter what the subject is.
Oh, yeah. Hang on. Let me mute you real quick. My phone's ringing.
Sure. Oh, David, you slept through it. Oh, my gosh. That's crazy.
Okay. I'm back.
David is Melissa's husband, and he said he slept through the whole thing. That she tried to wake him up, and something was outside the tent, but he didn't wake up.
Oh.
You missed out, David. You missed out.
You got to learn to wake up on a drop of a dime, David. Come on, do better.
Out on infrasound, I think you could probably miss out on that, but
oh, he's probably clapping about that now. Like, I'm glad I missed out. All right.
I'm glad I did not get hit with that. That's perfect. Yeah.
I don't want to get hit with that ever. So
it's not a good feeling.
I imagine not, and I'm epileptic, so I wonder if it would have a really severe effect on me.
Yeah, that's interesting.
You have to be really careful with that.
Right. I didn't, like I said, I wasn't into Bigfoot at that time. I hadn't had my sighting yet. So I didn't really believe in Bigfoot. I thought, oh, if they ever find him, that's great. If they don't find him.
Phone's ringing again. Hang on.
I thought world's biggest hoax, right? So, let's see here. Oh, maybe.
Okay, sorry about that.
Oh, you're fine. Melissa, were they down in the campsite? Were you guys at the same place that we were at last year?
Ooh. Juveniles, huh?
It is a very squatchy place, where they camp. Oh, wow. It went on for days. That's crazy.
Got a headache that went on for days. I feel your pain. 100%.
Rabbit Homesteading wants to correct us again.
Okay.
Google says praying mantis is ultra, not infra. What is there a difference? What's the difference?
Ultrasound, it's not the same decibel that infra is. Infra is below the scale of what we can hear.
Oh, okay. Bristol says he's convinced he got zapped years ago. Bird hunting went from relaxing time in the woods to full-on panic and lost. Just a few yards from the tote road in an area I've hunted for years. I've heard that you can get disoriented and with
yeah, it sounds
That's crazy, Bristol. That's
poor
really
people
crazy.
getting hit by infrasound, man. I feel bad for y'all.
Well, you need to have an experience so you can understand.
No, I do not.
Yeah,
No, I absolutely do not.
I don't know how that would work with that.
I don't know.
If it would trigger something for you.
It might.
Yeah.
Well, if I ever call you up from the hospital, I'll be like, I got hit with infrasound and it sucks.
I'll be like, really? What happened? Fill me in.
I'm trying to remember, but my body can't move.
Have you seen a Bigfoot, Ryan?
I think I did. I mean, I don't want to say it was definitely one, but when I was out with a friend, we were actually doing a cryptid investigation. We were out in where I used to live in Benson. There's some really high hills out there that lead right up to the mountains. And we were out there. We kept hearing what sounded like a whooping sound.
Oh, wow.
And, my friend was like, oh, it's a bird. It's something like that. And I was like, no, dude, that doesn't sound like a bird at all. And then as we stopped to make camp, we were getting ready to make a campfire. We heard something that sounded like rhythmic clapping.
Oh, wow.
Like that. And we used our flashlights. And as we were looking around, we did see the eye shine of something that was maybe about 6.5, 7 feet tall. And when the light got near, it would duck back down.
That's incredible.
Yeah. And, he thought, oh, it's a person. I'm trying to tell him, though, humans don't have eye shine, though.
Right.
So whatever it is that's getting hit by eye shine, that's not a person out there. And plus, that's a really big human. He's going to make some sound when he's following us out there, but this thing was quiet. And the guy, we had 2 pit bulls. My friend had 2 pit bulls with him. Whatever was out there, those pit bulls did not like it. They were whining. They would just force themselves down to the ground. So they were not happy about whatever was out there.
They were scared.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, my gosh. To me, that speaks volumes. When a dog like that, a dog that is known to be...
The whooping sound, though, I mean, it didn't sound like any kind of bird that I knew about in Arizona. It was a very distinctive whoop, whoop. So I don't think that was a bird.
Oh, my gosh. You probably had an encounter with Bigfoot.
Yeah. Yep. Why couldn't it happen during the day, though?
Yeah. Melissa, that's scary as hell.
Oh, that is scary.
That's like my biggest fear, is that I'm going to be in the woods camping and a hand is going to push my tent down. And
like Willow Creek, going to make that.
It's going to freak me right out.
That happens to me. I'm going to split outside that tent, make a door where there isn't one. I'll be gone. Like, bye.
I'm just gonna run with the whole tent.
Yep. Yep. They're gonna see me run, be like, man, Ryan moves fast.
It's funny, they made fun of me when I went to the Allegheny National Forest because I bought a great big 12-person tent. I did not sleep on the edges. I slept in the middle.
That's what I would have done. That's exactly what I would have done.
And they were like, Gwen, what are you doing? And I'm like, not sleeping next to the edge. That's what I'm doing.
You ever seen the Friday the 13th movies? You know what happens when you sleep near the edge?
Jason's going to come through there. I'm telling you. Yeah, I don't like to sleep in the tent by myself. I will in my own backyard.
Right.
Because I've done it. Slept in my own tent in my own backyard.
That sounds nice.
Out in the middle of the woods, I don't want to be in the tent by myself.
No, I would imagine not.
If I want somebody there with me that's going to experience it with me so that like two of us are in the tent and we're coming out and going, Sasquatch put his hand through here and touched me on top of the head. And the other guy can go, I saw the whole thing. Like,
yeah, I was there. She's not lying. Yeah.
I don't want to be that person alone in.
I don't blame you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep, that's true. They also did experiments with infrasound at a concert one time.
Wow, that I've never heard of that.
Yeah, they hooked up infrasound to the speakers that the music was coming from, and a number of people in the audience got sick from this infrasound. They wanted to see what kind of result it would have. These people got really, really sick.
That's insane.
Uh-huh.
Wow. Now I'm going to be walking around here with the decimal meter, checking all my stuff, make sure it wasn't something natural that hit me that day. Yeah.
And I don't think you can block it out. I know people say wear earplugs and everything, but it doesn't work like that, though. It's not something that we can hear.
It's not. Yeah, because you don't hear that frequency anyway.
Right. It's so below our hearing range that we can't hear it at all.
Bristol says, the Cherokee have stories about a race of little people that are still claimed to be seen. Mm-hmm. Would he be talking about the albatwitches or the...
Could be the puckwudgies, too.
I was just going to say the puckwudgies.
Mm-hmm.
Is that just a smaller version of the Bigfoot?
No, they're supposed to be like little gnome-like people that have really bad tempers if you make them angry. So you're supposed to respect the puckwudgies and give them little coins and, precious stones and tobacco and really show that you respect them. If you don't, there can be problems.
Rabbit Homesteading says, I think that was a military tactic. I heard that failed because the guy doing it was affected. I see. Yep. Interesting. Because my husband this past summer sent me he called me, I was at work, and he was extremely anxious about something that he saw in the yard.
Okay.
And he said that in the wood line, something caught his attention, like he saw movement, and he looked over to see what was there. And he said it was about 3 feet tall.
Whoa.
It was grayish brown, had grayish brown hair. And when it took a step, like it took 2 steps and just was gone and disappeared.
Whoa.
So like he went just kind of crazy because he saw this thing and he couldn't explain it. And he was out there with his video camera and he was like, I saw it here and it walked there and it disappeared and I was doing, and he was like very, I'm not going to say upset, but he was very excited that this that happened. And he doesn't make things up. In fact, when I say I saw something or I heard something or whatever, he's like, okay, Gwen. So for him to get excited and be like, you're never going to guess what I saw something today, was like, I had to be like, hey, okay.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah.
Oh, hi, Ashley.
Hi, Ashley. I think she heard us talking about her.
Yeah.
It was all good things, Ashley, I promise.
Oh, definitely. All good things.
Let's see here. Melissa says she's never heard of the puckwudgie.
Oh, Melissa, you got to look into that stuff. You're going to love those stories.
Are they kind of everywhere, puckwudgies? Or are they more of a...
No, it's more like back east in like, Massachusetts, and some stories here in Arizona. There's some in California, but not too widespread.
Not a widely spread thing.
Yeah.
Okay. That's good. We have albatwitches here in Pennsylvania.
The apple thieves. Yep.
Yeah, the apple thieves. They're known to steal your apples out of your picnic basket and throw them back at you.
Yep. Ingrates. So you're going to steal my stuff and throw it back? What's wrong with you?
Probably take a bite out of it too before they throw it back at you.
That's just rude.
Oh, Ashley, I hope you're feeling better.
Nah, she's had a rough day. Poor thing.
God love her.
Mm-hmm. I mean, she's putting up with me, so any day's a rough day, but
Person of the wilderness, Rabbit Homesteading says.
Yep.
Interesting. Does that also come from Indian history?
Yes.
They talk about the Pukwudgies.
Oh yeah. Oh, very much so. It's in a lot of their oral traditions. Yeah.
Okay.
If you want, I can do it right up for you and send it to you.
That would be awesome.
Okay, I can do that.
Pukwudgies would be cool. I've not delved too much into the Pukwudgies. Only the albatwitch because it's so local to where I live.
I think I saw something similar to a Pukwudgie not too long back.
Really?
Yeah, I was walking Duke in a riverbed that we used to walk in all the time, and Duke was actually kind of anxious that day. He wasn't acting like his spry, energetic self, and he kept looking towards the hills that was on the side, and we kept hearing this high pitched trill, almost like the predator makes, but it was high pitch. It wasn't that. It was more high pitched. And to me, I thought maybe woodpecker at first, because we do have woodpeckers down here.
Right.
But as we're walking, I can hear something stepping lightly on the leaves. And we come around this bend, and near the bottom of the hill, there's this being that's about maybe like this big.
Oh my gosh.
And it's wearing what looks like a squirrel kind of fur as a loincloth. And it's got these bristly little hairs sticking out of it. And it's holding a stick. And it just looked at me, and it looks at Duke, looks back at me, and just walks up the hill. Yeah.
And you're like, what the hell did I just see?
Yeah, I'm just staring at it going, what in the hell? And Duke's looking right at it, and Duke's not moving. Duke's just pointing right at it. And we just, we could hear it walking away. And then I was like, you know what? We're getting the hell on out of here because I don't know what that was. So we ended up going home.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Huh.
Yeah.
Rabbit Homesteading said the same thing. Wow.
Yeah, it was kind of weird. I'm like, okay, first I saw a dog man, now whatever the heck this was. So I started looking things up, and I came across the Pukwudgie, and I was like, well, it does fit the description. Mm-hmm.
I have to tell you, I was in Salt Fork, Ohio, the very beginning of September, and this was the weirdest thing. The weirdest thing. I got up. I got there Friday. We camped out Friday night. I slept in my Bronco. I have a Bronco, so it was just me. So I put an air mattress in the back, and I slept in the Bronco. Saturday morning, we got up to go and explore a place that we were going to investigate that night, and it was a dirt road. So when we got back, I noticed some fingerprints on the back of my car.
Oh.
Yeah, I actually lifted them.
You did.
Like, I'm quite the crazy
little detective over here.
I am. I was so excited because this was my first fingerprints that I didn't know what the hell I was going to lift.
How big were they?
It had a 17-inch from thumb to pinky finger. It was 17 inches.
Whoa.
And you really have to, you could get your hand there, but you really have to
you got to stretch it.
Yeah.
Really
depending on your finger size and all that, I can't do it, but I could see where somebody could easily get that, but it's just fingertips.
Wow.
And it's kind of almost like it touched and spun its hand at the same time.
Wow.
And you can see ridge detail in the prints that I.
No way. Nice.
I lifted them with my craft tape because I didn't have anything else.
That's how you do it.
It even says cricket on it. I'm like, ignore the cricket part. Just look at the fingerprints.
That's awesome.
But then Sunday morning, okay, I'm sleeping in my truck. I have a fan on in the window, and I have a power bank. Well, I must have drained the power bank dry. The fan shut off, and it's getting a little warm in my car. And I just happened to lift my head up and look out the back window, and something was standing there.
Ooh.
And I could see like the moonlight was coming down and you could see past it on each side, but something was standing there. And it was only like the midsection of something. Like I didn't see the shoulders, I didn't see a head. So I'm like looking out the side windows, I'm trying not to make too much movement because I don't want it to know that I'm awake.
Right.
And there's nobody out. The fire's dead. Like, and I'm like, oh my God, something's standing there. So I laid back down and I'm like intently listening. I want to hear if it's walking away. Does it touch my car? Does it like walk to the side? And I didn't hear anything, but when I looked back up several minutes later, it was gone.
Wow.
Now, the crazy thing is that I got up in the morning, packed up and left. I didn't say anything to anybody.
Mm-hmm.
So I called the guy that organized the camp out and I said, Bill, this is what I saw this morning. And he goes, I'm going to call you right back. And I'm like, okay. The lady that was camping across from me was sleeping in a tent. And she got up in the morning to go to the bathroom and saw something standing there. And she got it in her FLIR camera. Now, her FLIR does not take photos, which, I could just tell. But she did see it in her FLIR camera. Wow. And it was very tall. It was much taller than my Bronco. And you figure my Bronco sits, 5.5 to maybe 6 foot from the ground to the top of the car. And I didn't see a middle. I mean, all I saw was a middle. I didn't see shoulders and a head.
Whoa.
How tall was this thing standing
there? Too tall, man. Too tall.
I was out of my mind. I was like, are you crazy? When Bill called me back to tell me that, I almost had a heart attack.
I bet.
And then I was like, why didn't she have a FLIR with a camera on it?
Yeah, you're all shaking her. Get a camera.
My gosh. I mean, mine hooks up to the bottom of my phone, so I can take video and pictures with my FLIR. And I'm
Maybe it'll be next time.
But it was crazy that, that was my second sighting of a Bigfoot.
That's cool.
It has to be a Bigfoot. What else was it? Because nobody else that was camping there is that tall.
Yeah, no, I'd imagine not. I would hope not. Jeez, so, Andre the Giant over there.
It was insane.
Yeah.
It was insane.
That sounds pretty cool.
Again, I had that feeling of don't move. Like, as much as I want to see one and want to interact with one, I had that paralyzing, okay, move. Don't make too much movement. I don't want him to know that I'm awake. I don't, what's he going to do? Rip the window off the back of my car and rip me out by my legs? Like,
that's what I was like during my Dogman encounter. I did not move a muscle. I don't think I even blinked, to be honest with you.
Oh, my gosh. I would have.
I just stood there like, oh.
I know someone who's had a Dogman encounter, and he does not talk highly of
a lot of people don't.
In fact, it's a very nasty encounter. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it seems like the encounters are getting more violent for some reason. A little intrigued by that.
Let's see here. Rabbit Homesteading says that he has an Axon Pulsar. Oh, is that FLIR? That's like a thermal?
I think so.
I think it is too.
Yeah. Wow.
Oh, wow. You could see through it? That's incredible.
That's kind of creepy.
That is very creepy.
Mm-hmm. Like seeing the Predator or something, man. Oof.
Oh, my gosh. Ooh. Yes, it was a thermal. Very good. Yeah.
Oh, no, I got to take that back. I think I'd be excited to see the Predator. I'd be like, yay.
Oh, no. I would be frozen in fear.
I'm such a Predator fan. I'd be like, cool, you are real.
You posted something about Predator today, didn't you? That I saw? Yeah, I saw it. Yep. I read all your stuff when you post stuff on Facebook. I love when you start out with, I'm going to set the record straight. And I'm like, here we go. I got to in. What's going on?
About to dig into somebody when I do that.
I know it's not me, so I'm like, that's perfect.
Oh, yeah, no. I usually call out the people that lie about the skinwalkers and everything. Yeah, but Ashley, I never said I didn't have problems. I admit them, and admitting them is the first step.
Oh, my gosh, that is too funny.
Yeah, that one post that I made, though, about that puppet, God, people are still arguing with me about that, and I'm like, oh. All the proof is right there. I literally spoon-fed you all the evidence to show it's not a dog man, and you're still arguing.
Yeah.
Yeah, Bristol, the Glimmerman kind of things. Yeah, those are weird. I don't know what to make of those.
What is that? Is that happening a lot? The Glimmer?
Yeah, a lot of people are seeing these cloaked humanoids, and yeah, they call them the Glimmerman. Some people call them that anyway, and it's like I have no explanation as to where those things could come from. Not a one.
We went out to the Allegheny National Forest last month to start investigating because there's been an uptake of rake sightings.
Oh, don't get me started on the rake now, Gwen.
And a downslide of Bigfoot sightings. Almost like the two aren't cohabitating in the same area.
Well,
So
I mean,
it was something that we were going to check out. The thing that I thought was odd about the entire weekend had nothing to do with our research.
oh,
It had to do with the fact that I had a 5-gallon bucket of apples that was delivered to us.
oh my.
I sat the bucket of apples out in the middle of the road, far enough away from our camp that, we wouldn't be bothered by a bear or deer or whatever.
Right.
And nothing touched this 5-gallon bucket of apples.
How disappointing. And how rude.
The second night, we had cooked on the fire, and I put the leftovers on top of the apples. So it was hamburger, potatoes, carrots. I dumped it on top of the apples, set the bucket back out there, and nothing came to that bucket.
How
The
inconsiderate.
meat in there. And I was like, to me, that's the odd thing. Nothing came out to eat that meat out of that
Interesting.
bucket.
Well, don't get me started on those rakes, though.
Oh, that's a whole lot. We're going to have another show.
Yes.
And you're going to have to come on because I know nothing about rakes.
Oh, well, I can tell you that the Native Americans spoke of something very similar. They called them the people before the people.
The people before. That sounds scary as hell.
It is.
Rabbit Homesteading says he would assume a Bigfoot would easily destroy a rake in a fight.
I would think so. I mean,
I'd like to hope so.
yeah. I'd be cheering for Bigfoot.
Remember those MTV cage things that they had with the little
Celebrity Deathmatch?
Yeah, Celebrity Deathmatch.
Let's get it on.
You should do something like that, but with cryptids.
Ooh, that's a brilliant idea. Ooh.
Get on it, Ryan. Let's go.
Yep.
You're
I'm making note of this.
all these little things.
I'm making a note of it right now, actually.
Which, by the way, if no one knows Ryan, there's one thing I know about him. He makes these amazing figurines.
Oh, thank you.
They are amazing. Like when he posts one on Facebook, I'm like, holy shit! Like you should be making these for someone to put in pretty little boxes and sell in stores because
I should.
They are very good quality things.
Did you see my Predator yet? I
don't think I did. No.
Let me grab him. I got one here. Here we go. There's my Predator.
And you made this thing.
Yeah, that's all handmade and hand painted. Every single detail on there, including the glow-in-the-dark blood on his shin.
That's insane.
And it's even detailed in the back. So all the fishnet is hand painted.
Jesus.
And his
lot
little,
of time, Ryan.
if you look at his wrist gauntlet, I got his little font on there.
I agree with Ashley. You don't promote it enough.
I try, but I need to start doing it more.
You do, because you've got a thing there. Seriously. I've seen quite a few of the little things that you put on there, and I'm like, holy crap. Like that looks like it came from a movie set somewhere.
Well, I was originally going to get into movie production. That's what I went to art school for, was making, props and everything and animation. But I couldn't do it. It's a cutthroat industry. Yep. Some clay and some resin.
That is really awesome. Yeah. Every show I've had with you, I've wanted to bring that up because I think you make the coolest things.
Oh, thank you.
And I don't think you get the recognition that you should be getting.
Oh, I appreciate that.
You make really cool stuff.
Thank you.
Holy crap. And it's very professionally done. Like it's not, you don't skimp on things, details.
No. My art teacher that I had way back in high school, he would bust my balls about that. If I skipped any details, he'd be like, you can do better. Get back to it. So it stuck with me.
Yeah. And it pays.
Oh, yeah.
It shows, because what you do is really fantastic work.
Oh, well, thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Well, guys, I think we're going to call it quits for tonight. And now that we have a whole nother batch of subjects to come on with.
Oh, yeah.
I'm just going to have to make you my co-host, Ryan.
There you go. I wouldn't be objected to that.
So, yeah, we've had an awesome conversation tonight. We kind of
thank you.
Went all over the gamut.
That's what I do.
Yeah, I don't ever write a script. This show is really laid back, and we just go wherever the conversation takes us. So I hope everybody was okay and didn't get bored, because it was a great
crowd. You have a great following here.
We at one point we had like 15 people on here, so it was pretty good. Yeah. David Lester says, great show, great chat. Thanks, you, David. So we're going to wrap this up tonight. If you guys, I'm heading to South Carolina tomorrow, and I will be speaking at the South Carolina Bigfoot Festival on Friday night at 5 and Saturday at 2 o'clock. And I have a nice presentation on Bigfoot.
Awesome.
That I kind of take things from my perspective, so to speak. So,
my dog's coming to life now. Look at that.
I see that. He moved
there
around.
Hey, dude.
I was
hey,
like,
buddy.
He's moving. Look at. Good to see you live, Ryan.
Oh, thanks, man. It's always good to see you too.
So, if you get a chance and you're in the area, stop by. There's going to be a lot of cool stuff.
That sounds neat.
Yeah, it's really cool. They actually shut the town down.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So
very cool.
And there's some cool new stuff coming to Got Knockers, like this right here.
Oh.
That's my license plate. I made it today.
That's cool.
So they are going to be up on the website's kind of under construction right now. But
I'm gonna have to get one for Ashley.
Yeah, if anybody wants one, just message me and I'll get it out to you. So
I'll be messaging you then. I need to get one for Ashley.
Have a great night, everybody.
Take care, everybody.
We'll see you in a couple of weeks.
All right. Bye.
This has been a CARC Universal production.